faking it. Okay. All right. So it's called Faking It. So I thought it'd be fun to have. All right, how fun is that? I hope people were moving. I hope people were dancing and having some fun with that. Okay, so welcome to my webinar today. So we're recording. I just need to make sure we're recording. There we go. Okay, so welcome. It's so wonderful to see all of you on this free training. It is such a privilege and a pleasure to be the life coach for quilters. I'm the life and weight loss coach for quilters. I love being able to serve all of my quilting clients, and all my clients are quilters, which is super fun. At the end of the free training, I am going to talk about how you can work with me and all the different opportunities available to you. So I am so glad you're here. In order to get the most out of today's training, I want to encourage you to turn off all your screens other than the one you're watching. So on your phone, which reminds me I need to do the same thing. So on our phones, we have a no disturb sign. So I'm going to put that on. And I do encourage you to grab a pen and a workbook. I really love having that handy. But I also want to invite you not to get too worried about taking all the notes and being really worried about that, because you will get this recorded. It will be sent in your email box, and it's also available on my YouTube channel. So it is there, and I'm so happy to provide that for you. Okay, so we're going to start out with really looking at this idea of imposter syndrome and if this relates to who you are. So, excuse me, this is kind of an introspective kind of topic, and I actually want to give you a lot of credit for coming, because this is super uncomfortable. When you think, as I was like promoting, sorry, my chair is, as I was promoting this, I thought, wow, this could be really awkward and challenging for a lot of women, because I'm addressing what is actually coming up for you. And so I just, first of all, want to like really acknowledge you here, and like, way to go, way to like stand up for yourself, way to be proactive with your own mental and physical health. And so let's just go right into it. So imposter syndrome, is this you? So here you are. So if everything on the outside is 100% A-okay, I feel good, but you would be mortified if anyone knew what's really going on. So I love Brene Brown's work, and she talks about the this concept of perfectionism being. I love this quote. So I am the author of the 12-step perfection recovery program. It's written for quilters. We have a UFO challenge at the back, and I love when Brene Brown says, here, let me find it. If I look, what page is it on? It's right at the beginning. Oh, here we go. Perfectionism is there. If I look perfect, live perfect, work perfect, I will rid or minimize criticism or ridicule. We are not able to do anything brave if we are wearing the straitjacket of what people think. And so what we're going to do at the beginning of the webinar is I'm going to kind of paint the picture of if you fall under the imposter syndrome umbrella and what that looks like. So I want to just explain to you for a moment of what the imposter syndrome, what the cycle looks like. So I put that on my social media. I did a little quiz if this is you. So we are going to evaluate us shortly, but I just want to explain this imposter cycle syndrome that just happens over and over and over again. So the first thing that can happen is you've been given a task and you procrastinate it. You feel overwhelmed, you don't feel qualified, you have these perfectionism characteristics. And so you procrastinate. And then what happens is you rush and you do it well. You get the praise, but you don't accept it because you think it must have been luck. And like, I don't really deserve it. I didn't really do that good of a job. It just kind of happened. It was just luck that I was able to have success. Okay. So you don't, well, and then the second thing that you can do if you've been asked to do something is that you over prepare. So you think the only reason I did well is because I worked hard. So you either procrastinated or you over prepared. And so then you attribute your success to luck or just determination and, hard work. Like grit, like, I'm not really that great because it took me that much longer than most people. Is this sounding familiar to any of you? Do you relate to any of this? You don't have to put it in there, but I just want you to think about that. So now the problem is, this is not a matter of true personal ability. That's what you think. And then it reinforces the cycle of, well, when I get anything done, it's either luck or hard work. Okay. So the result is you never own your own genius and you never allow yourself to truly identify with what you accomplished. You never acknowledge, I did put in some work. Yes, I did do some research. And yes, I did apply this new understanding. Yes, I am building a skill. Yes, I'm really amazing. Okay. So this is the imposter syndrome. So now this is where I want you to get out your pens and I want you to think about, these are the 6 dimensions. So back in 1985, I believe, there was didn't write her name down, but she did a study. She was recognizing there was, I think, 150 professional women that all struggled with imposter syndrome. They all, even though they were super well accomplished on the outside, they had a lot of anxiety, they had a lot of depression, they weren't really very happy, but on the outside, it looked like everything was really amazing. And so this researcher went in and she studied what was going on, and this is what she discovered. So what I'd like you to do right now is I'd like you to see where you fall in this spectrum. So these are the 6 dimensions of imposter syndrome. The first is the imposter cycle, which I just explained about. Either you procrastinate and then you think it was just luck that you were accomplished, or you overdid it and you overworked. And so you think, well, it's just because I worked hard. It's nothing about me. Anyone can do it. Okay. So how often do you find yourself in this imposter cycle? So you either think it's luck or hard work, grit, determination, and you never really own your own genius, and you never really give yourself the opportunity to be amazed by all the skills that you've actually accomplished. Okay. Need to be special. How often do you feel bad if you're not acknowledged or if people don't pay special attention to you? Okay. So this need to be special, this need to be called out. 1 being hardly at all, 10 being like all the time. I totally need it. Like, I just want it all the time. When people are talking and I've done something nice, I want them to announce to the world how amazing and nice I am. Okay. Next one, characteristics of Superwoman. How often do you rely or desire people to say, oh my goodness, you're so accomplished. You've done so well. How do you do it? You're just amazing. Okay, there's nothing wrong with being amazing. In fact, I think all of you are amazing. And there's just like all the things that we do are amazing, but we needing to have people saying this to us. Okay. Fear of failure. 1 being, I don't ever have fear of failure. 10, like, oh my gosh, all the time. I'm like, I can hardly do anything. I don't want to do anything new. I don't want to try new things because I have so much fear of failure. Okay. So where are you in that spectrum? The next one, denial of ability and discounting praise. How often do you, when someone says, oh, that quilt is so amazing, that is really quite an accomplishment. How often do you say, well, not, I'm really not that good. You should see Susan's, or you should see Lori's, or you should see Ruth's. And then how often, like you say, oh, wow, I can't believe you did that dinner for 50 people for the funeral, 150 people. You're like, well, it's not, it was just nothing. Just mostly everyone else did everything. I just did a little bit. Okay. So where are you on that? 1 being, that's not me at all. 10 being like, oh my gosh, Dara, you're speaking right to me. Okay. The next one is feeling fear and guilt about success. How often do you feel fear or guilt about your success? 1 being, I never feel fear or guilt about my success. 10, always. I always worry about, I have success, but then I feel guilty because I took time away where I should have cleaned the house more. So then you're not even really enjoying the fact that you made that quilt or that you had that accomplishment. You're like, yeah, but I should have done this. Okay. So I'd be curious to know what your score is out of 60. So this has just been an exercise for us to see, where do you fall in the imposter syndrome? Okay. So why are you this way? What do you think? So when you think about it, we have been, so the other thing I wanted to say about imposter syndrome is a lot of times people they feel like they don't live up to other people's expectations, friends or loved ones. They think they must have tricked them into wanting to be their friends. They have a lot of feelings of unworthiness. They often don't feel deserving of the beneficial relationships they have. They compare themselves to others. They don't feel up to snuff. Their success comes from external circumstances. Okay, so those are some of the characteristics. Now, why are we there? You're 44. Okay, so good, right? Good to know. You're like, wow, look at me. So this is why we're here. We have been socialized to feel happy when other people give us happy feedback. And we've been socialized to, if someone gives us a negative feedback, then we think that we need to believe that what their negative feedback is actually true. And so the problem is, husband has thoughts about us, or we have thoughts about what husband thinks or sees or feels. I was coaching a lady this morning and she was talking about her husband's body language. She's like, well, he doesn't even have to say anything. I just know. I was like, oh, how do you know? So our mother, she says words, and she has been saying words to us, and we've been interpreting her words ever since we were little. Okay. Our siblings say things, our families say things. So they all have thoughts. Our boss will have thoughts and words. Our neighbors have thoughts and words. The guild members, they all have thoughts and words. Okay. And actually, we do have about 60,000 thoughts a day. And the thing is that's so interesting is we always have thoughts. Like our boss could say, you did a good job. But if you're in this imposter syndrome, how you see it is, yeah, but if you knew how long it took me, you would be embarrassed, or you would, I can't believe how long it took me to do it. Or procrastinating. If you were procrastinating, you're like, yeah, it was just luck. Whew, I'm glad I got that one over on him, right? So this is the problem. They all have words, they all say things, and they all have opinions, but whatever they say, we always decide what we want to think about their words. So we have a filter, whatever our filter is, whether it's like self-doubt or depression or anxiety or whatever that is, we always have our thoughts about what they say. And there's a lot of thoughts we have. And depending on where we are in our life and how honest we're being with ourselves, all of that will determine what they say. Okay. All right. So what do you want to be? So where do you want to be? So for example, here we are, and we're like, I have all these ideal thoughts. Like we want to believe, and you can put them in the chat. What do you want your ideal experience to be with yourself? So I had some ideas. You can share, you can echo them if you want, or you can add new ones in. But we probably, ideally, we want to think we're awesome. And we want to feel like I have great ideas and abilities. I am a creative genius. I love my life. I create my own joy. And what I think of me is the most important. What are some of the other thoughts or what are the things that you want in your life? I would love to hear it. Okay. So this is where we want to be. Now, I'm going to talk about why, but Dara, I've been down that road. Nothing works. Okay. You have tried. You have done the self-affirmation. You have tried to do all those things, but it never clicks. Okay. So one of the reasons, so here we are again, and we have our thoughts. And so we think that when we get a certain number on our paycheck, then we'll be happy. When we have a certain amount of education, degrees, when we have, and then certain positions at work, when we have a certain kind of family, and then once we have we have the number of kids, and then we're dependent on the kids' accomplishments and the kids' successes and the husband's or the wife or whoever. And it's like, oh, but if they would have been an honor student, then I would feel better. And then if they got honors, well, they didn't go in the IB program and they didn't get that many scholarships or whatever, right? Like there's this, like, you think that it's going to be something. This is a quilt and this is a ribbon. It's like, oh, I think that once I have enough quilt accolades, then I'll be happy, right? And then I would feel worthy. Then I would feel whole. Then I wouldn't feel like I'm tricking people, that I'm really not that good. Maybe it's the house. You're like, oh, I need to have a bigger house, or I need to live in that neighborhood, or I need to be a hostess and have more parties, or I need to have a certain kind of long arm. I should have drawn a long arm there. I needed to have that, or certain vacations. Then I would be happy. If I had, then I'd be more balanced, and then I could really feel that way. Because if I don't have very good vacations, and I didn't rest very well, so then I'm not giving myself the opportunity. So I must have better vacations. I better just go do that. Okay. So how many of you think that that's the reason why you haven't really embraced who you really are, and why you still feel like I'm an imposter, I'm not really that great, my life isn't really what it should be, all of that. Okay. So one of the things I want to tell you is everything we do in life is because we want to feel a certain way. Everything we do. That is our motivation. So we think, oh, when I get more money, or I get more educated and I have more degrees beside my name, or I have a certain kind of family, or accolades of quilts, winning a show, having a certain kind of house or vacation, you think that those external things are going to create a certain emotion in you. But I want to tell you, it has nothing to do with external things. Because if everything we do in life is because we want to feel a certain way, an airplane or a vacation or a house, those are external factors. All right. Now, I'm going to show you why why you are having this problem. So before I go on to that, do you have any questions or anything that you've noticed already about this imposter syndrome? About feeling fear, about being able to, so when we go to it, when you go back to these ones here, let me find it. Oh, here it is. So needing to be special, characteristics of Superwoman, fear of failure, denial of ability. So when in the study, she said, if you have 2 of these, then you are at some level of the imposter syndrome. Okay. And the problem with the imposter syndrome is, and one of the reasons why you have that is because you have been relying, and that's what they found in the study, you've been relying on external sources to create an internal feeling. So you're trusting the words of other people instead of focusing on trusting your words. So that's why we had all those external things. And that's why we're having all the trouble. So the problem is the whole basis of what we've been doing is based on thought errors. So I'm going to explore some of the thought errors that we have, and they have been kind of laying the foundation for you. So here we have, when I circumstance have a certain amount of money in the bank, or quilts accomplished, degree, children, success, whatever, we have some external thing, then I can feel a certain way. Okay, so whenever we have a if, then, what is that? That's conditional. So now you have a very conditional relationship. You're not able to give yourself permission to just be. Everything is very tight and conditional, and basically it's a moving target. Because when you think about a moving target, so we're like, you have this thing that if the boss says this, then I can feel a certain way. And don't get me wrong, of course, we need the boss to think a certain way, or else we don't have a job. So of course we need to have some concern about what the boss says to some degree. But the reason why I say it's moving target is because we don't have very clear expectations on, if my husband says this, if my boss says this, if my family says this, we aren't very clear about what those even mean. And we don't ever really have our own rule book about what that even means and what we decide it means, because we don't give ourselves the opportunity to decide for ourselves what we want to make out of that. So this is a problem. Okay. So we never really know if we've had success or not, because we're just always waiting for other people's validation, but we don't even have a rule about what their level of validation means. Okay. We don't have a clear expectation of, if my husband says this, then I can feel this way. What about what we think is the most important? Okay. All right. The next problem we have, which is a thought error, is we think that, I'm just going to go back to the example when we were kids. Okay. So when we were young, I don't know about you, but I had this thought, once I can have a driver's license, then it'll be amazing. And I thought that the most amazing thing in the world would be to drive myself to McDonald's, get a chicken burger and a chocolate sundae with nuts. I truly thought that was going to be my pinnacle of joy, my level of freedom, all of that. I thought it was amazing. Okay. I don't know about you. Like when you were kids or youth or whatever, what was your when I can do this, then it'll be amazing. Okay. So when I drive a car by myself and go through a drive-through of McDonald's, I literally thought that was oh, okay. So I got my driver's license and I drove to McDonald's and I got a chicken burger and and it was okay. But I was like, wait a minute. I still have fights with my siblings. I still have problems at school. I still have, life. I have acne or whatever. I was like, well, okay, well, maybe I had it wrong. Maybe it's when I go to university and I have roommates. Oh, okay. So now I'm putting all of my eggs in the basket of a circumstance, thinking that then that happens, then I can feel a certain way. But of course, then I had roommates, and that wasn't all gravy and wonderful because they didn't always do their dishes and they didn't, it's like life happens. So this is the problem. We think that the joy comes from an external circumstance. And then we can be happy when, but it's very conditional. So this is the plateau effect. And that is the problem then goes to my next one, where I call this the treadmill effect. So you're moving and you're like, okay, I'm doing these things. I'm working on these blocks of the month, and I'm posting all these things, and I'm staying up late to finish this so I can keep up with all the other women and doing all those things. And I'm like hustling and I'm so busy, but you're never truly happy. You're not really moving forward. And it feels terrible. So I don't know about you, but when you think about why you're struggling, why you're feeling this way, I want you to ask yourself, where are you in this spectrum? How often do these occur for you? And just get really open and honest with yourself. Okay? So I'm going to show you what actually works. Okay? And I really want you to just, first of all, just be in your body and just really give yourself just like a little bit of reassurance. Like, hey, you're doing this. Because if, this is the thing. I'm like going through all of these things, I'm explaining it, you're like, yep, that's me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. I'm 50 something years old and I still haven't figured this out yet. And here, okay, we're not doing that. That's what I call punching yourself in the face. The reason you came here, the reason why you are here with me, which I think isn't this amazing? Like, just take a moment. We have women from all over. I don't even know where all of you are from. There's a lot of you I don't know. But I know for sure that there's people from Minnesota. I know there's people here from California. There's people from Iowa here. There's people from Arizona here. There's people from Canada here. Okay. The rest of you, I don't know where you're from. But we are all here because we want to change. And I really want you, like, I don't know, right now, maybe some of you might be physically feeling bloated. Maybe you're feeling like a little uneasy. Maybe your chest is a little heavy. I don't know. Whatever emotion you're feeling, your body will feel it. And so if you are feeling like maybe bloated, just put your hands on your belly. Okay. If you're feeling kind of like heavy in your chest, just put your hand on your chest. Be like, oh my gosh, look at you. Like maybe you're feeling a little anxiety. Maybe you're feeling a little sweaty. Maybe you're feeling like a little bit gross. Okay. You're like, oh, maybe you're like wanting to punch yourself in the face. Like, oh man, when am I going to figure this out? I really want you to just be in your body right now. I am a life coach. This is what I do. We learn to think about our thinking. But if you've come to any of my free trainings, I tell you, and this is what I work on in my program, we have a response in our brain. We have a thought, and the thought releases chemicals, hormones in our body. So if I said, I'm late, I gotta go. Or it's an emergency, the school called, my son just fell off the playground. You would all have a response, right? You have a thought, oh, this is terrible. And your body, like your heart starts beating. You might start sweating a little bit. This is very normal. We have thoughts, and our thoughts release chemicals in our brain. We could have cortisol, adrenaline, dopamine, any of those things. Okay. So I do want to just tell you, this is very, very normal. And one of the problems that you've had is that you have probably spent a lot of time, which we're going to talk about, not being in your body. So eating more food than your body needs, shopping more, over social mediaing more, being busy more because you don't want to be in your head. You're hiding from yourself. So if you are having feelings in your body, if your body is like feeling like some tension or bloating or whatever that is, just welcome it. Just say, thank you, body, for doing what you're supposed to. So if any of you have fibromyalgia or arthritis or anything like that, a lot of the time, most of the time, it's because you haven't learned to listen to your body. If you have thyroid issues, it's because you're not speaking your truth or you're sugarcoating what you're saying. If you have like a sore throat or ears or other problems like that, you're probably swallowing what you really want to say. This is something that the more I do this work and I understand how we think about our thinking, I also learn and I also help my clients starting to heal themselves. It is nothing when I first started life coaching, I had no idea the impact of how we can make our bodies more complete and whole. We can alleviate pain. We can really, like headaches, all of that. We can reduce them. So I do want to just give sometimes I worry about these free trainings because all of a sudden your body is feeling a certain way and you're just like, I don't know what's happening. It's totally normal. But just like put your hand wherever that is and just be like, it's okay. We got you. Okay. All right. You ready? Okay. What actually works? Yay. I'm going to give you some clarity. Isn't that fun? You got your pen ready? So good. All right. So when some external circumstance, then I can feel a certain way. We are going to switch that. Okay. So we are going to not have a conditional relationship with ourselves. We are going to have an unconditional relationship with ourselves. So we are going to give ourselves permission to be us and say things like, I am perfect the way I am. By the way, did you know that you're already worthy? Whether you weigh 350 pounds or 150 pounds, it has nothing to do with your worth. Your worth is already set. So people who walk down the grocery store who have lost 100 pounds, people don't come up and give them coupons and free things and say, wow, you're amazing. You lost all this weight. Your boss doesn't come up to you and say, I noticed you've lost 20 pounds. Here's another $30,000 raise. Okay. So many of us think that when we are thin or when we have accomplished a certain thing, then everything is going to be solved. Everything's going to be amazing. Because we're finally going to feel worthy. That's not how it works. Our worth was already set. Okay. The day we were born, our worth was already set. So now we can just live, just be like, what's going to be more fun for me? What am I going to enjoy more? What could be better? And my approach to weight loss is, when I don't have as much extra weight on me, so I myself have lost 50 pounds without exercise or counting calories. It's all because I learned to love myself. And it started with just kind of tolerating myself. And then it was kind of like, I think there's certain things about me that are pretty good. Like I have these hands that do some pretty cool free motion quilting. And the more I started to embrace, like, okay, I'm not that bad. I started to learn to love myself. And so when I really love myself, guess what I do? I just accept me for who I am. I don't punch myself in the face. I love myself unconditionally. So even if I don't like the expression fell off the wagon, but even if I broke trust with myself, I don't have to say, oh, you're the worst. I can be like, oh, you're just a human. That's okay. Why did you do that? Let's get curious. Let's figure this out. Okay. It's an incredibly different approach and it's so effective. And it does take my clients, depending on who we are and where we're at, it takes some time. But even on here, I can see there's clients on here who, they do really well. And then their family comes and they have some old habits. Oh, let's get some cinnamon buns. Let's do this. Let's do that. and they break trust with themselves, guess what? You're human. You had some pretty strong behaviors before, patterns, right? And then we have love and we have compassion. We have unconditional love for ourselves, and we keep moving on. And I'm going to talk about that over here. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to do that you can do when you're feeling these feelings is, so here you are, here's your thoughts. And instead of worrying about what other people think of you, you are actually more concerned, this is your heart right here, what you think of you. So what I think of me is the most important. And I'm going to tell you, that is the basis, foundation of my Love Yourself Then program. So this is the perfection recovery. Sorry, my perfection recovery. So what you think of you is more important than what anyone else thinks of you. That is the basic premise of overcoming perfectionism. Isn't that incredible? And that is a bonus in my program. So accept where I am and create detail, understanding, clarity, expectations. So we need to first have acceptance, and then we need, and one of the main factors in the study, the foundational study of imposter syndrome back in the 80s, is she said that women did not have clear expectations. And that was really reassuring to me, because I talk to my clients all the time about creating clear expectations for yourself, right? What do you want? What is important to you? And that is so powerful, because now you're not that moving target. Like, well, my husband wants me to do this, and my boss wants me to do this, and my kids expect this from me, and I expect this from myself around my kids, and I expect this around myself or my husband. But you're not even clear. And so if the husband says, I don't really like this dinner, then you don't get your own back, and you're like, you spin out of like, I'm so terrible, what's wrong with me? Or my kids are like, where's the laundry? And you're like, oh, I'm such a bad mom, I didn't do the laundry, what's wrong with me? Rather than, hey, if you want clean clothes, go for it. Let me give you some lessons on how to use the washer and dryer. Okay. And then, so now if we have clear expectations, then what happens is we do without having to know the how. So we start working our life. We're like, I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it, but how I have some strategies. I'm going to collect data. So one of the things that I do with my weight loss clients, my clients, when we work on weight loss, is we actually create our very own protocol. So they create their own protocol themselves. There's clients who, I don't even know exactly what they eat. It doesn't matter. They create their own protocol, so they know what works for them. We are collecting data, and then that way we can see what works, what doesn't work, what we're going to do different next time. And the beautiful thing is we can embrace the messy. I call, like, learning is kind of messy. I was a school teacher for 10 years. I'm a mom of 5 kids. Life is not like do this, do that, do this, do that. Life is, we do this. Do we like it? Does it work? Could we do it better? Let's see. Let's reevaluate. No big deal. Oh, that was a mess. Oh, I'm never going to do that again. One time we went camping and this lady said, oh, you should just put jam in a plastic Ziploc. I'm never doing that again. It sounded like a great idea. It was not. Okay. So I wanted to, so this process that I just talked about, this is the process. We need to unconditionally love ourselves. Our worth is already set. So whether we make X number of dollars or go on certain vacations or whatever that is, it has nothing to do with our worth at all. Those are just fun. Just like, even like with weight loss, it's like, you know what? It's just, when I'm thinner, I don't have to worry about diabetes, type 2 diabetes. I don't have to worry about my knees and my ankles and my hips hurting as much. I don't have to like beat myself in the face when I put the seatbelt on and I feel all this shame. When I wake up in the morning and I get dressed in the closet, like the closet is a much happier place for me to be. When I'm putting a bathing suit on, I'm not being so mean to myself. Like being a size 6, that's just a circumstance. My thoughts about myself are so different now that I'm a size 6. I'm 6 feet tall. I did not know I could be this weight. And I've had 5 kids. So there was, and I'm in perimenopause. Like there's all these, and my mom's overweight. My grandma was overweight. Like, so, there's all the reasons why. And my sisters were super thin and I was never as thin as they were. Okay. There were all sorts of reasons, but now like being a size 6, that's a circumstance and I get to decide whatever I want to think about it. And what I think about me is the most important. This is not selfish, ladies. This is not being selfish. If you are not your best version of yourself, if you are not truly taking care of yourself, your mental health, your physical health, you are no fun to be around with other people. So like my kids and my husband, they're like, wow, mom, we loved you before. They did. They loved me. And you're like, you were a fun mom. But they're like, ever since you started being a life coach and well, even before I became a life coach and I was implementing all these life coaching tools that I was getting as I was being coached, they're like, it's way more fun being around you. You're just like way better. Isn't that so much fun? I'm like, yeah, I am way better because I'm managing this beautiful brain of mine. I'm not afraid of it anymore. I'm not hiding from it. I'm not running away. I'm actually being present in my life and I'm being a proactive member of my own life because what I think about me is the most important. I'm not like exhausted and scattered, right? And then I accept where I am and then I get really clear expectations on myself. And then I just get to work to creating the life I want. I don't need to know how, but I'm like, well, I do want to have more joy. I do want to do these different things. I want to, have this body that I feel really comfortable in. And I don't want to have to exercise and count calories. So I need to keep working on my brain and on my love and on my relationship with me. So I take care of me. All right. And when it gets messy, I don't worry about it. I'm like, oh, of course, I've never learned to, be this weight and keep it off and all of that. Like, yeah. Okay. All right. So what happens when you do these things? Let's talk about the skills that are developed. So you learn to get your own back. What you think of you is more important than what other people think of you. And that is not selfish. That is being very genuine. You're actually learning. I didn't even write that down. You are learning to be your authentic self. So many of my clients are in that empty nest phase. They look in themselves in the mirror. They don't even know who they see. They're like, who is this? Like, they don't really know because they have been living for everyone else. And even with their husbands, they're like, it's just, and then they start retiring and they're like, I don't even know what to do with all my time. Okay. And then they retire and they're like, I thought I was going to have so much more time. But the problem is they're just being busy doing little busy stuff and they're not actually being with themselves because they don't really know themselves. They're not developing their authentic them. And they're hiding still. It's just another form of hiding. Okay. So when you do this work, you then create clear expectations for yourself. You're like, oh, every day I want to make sure that I prepare proper food for myself. I really want to be with my food. I want to be with my time. I don't want to be on my phone or on social media 8 hours a day. I don't want to turn to my phone for my socialization or my food for my joy. I want to go kayaking. I want to go hiking, or I want to be productive I want to work through my stash. I want to feel accomplished. I want to make the charity quilts. I want to learn free motion quilting, right? Like, you actually start becoming the driver of your life when you have clear expectations. It's like when you're driving and you don't know where you're going, you just drive around. But if you had like a GPS and you had like direction, it's like, wow, that was great. You get clean goals. So one of the first things I teach in my Love Yourself Thin program is the difference between dirty goals and clean goals. So you learn that you can create goals and not beat yourself up. It's a beautiful, beautiful way. So it creates real change. So of course you have real change and growth. You have unconditional love for yourself. Oh, that's funny. I got to fix that. Unconditional love. How many of you have conditional love for yourself? How many of you say, oh, when I'm a size, whatever, then I can think I'm good? Or when I have a ribbon in a quilt show, then I can accept myself. We don't wake up in the morning and do that, but how many of us unconsciously really truly believe, like, when I'm thin, then I can feel good about myself. Then I can feel worthy. Then I can feel acceptable. Then I can feel like I'm really contributing. But right now I'm just kind of, okay, like, really think about this. You can feel any emotion. How many of us, when you can put up your hand, so how many of us feel comfortable with negative or positive emotion? So if I said, oh, you're so talented, you're so fun, you're so fun to be with, do you have a hard time accepting that? You're like, yeah, I'm pretty awesome, you're right, I am a hoot. Or you're like, oh no, you should meet my sister, she's way more fun. How many of you have a hard time being with either one of those? Okay. So when you do this work, when you do those things that I said, you are willing to feel any emotion. You're like, oh, this is an emotion, no problem. You build trust with yourself. The first step to self-esteem is building trust. Then your opinion of yourself expands, augments, and you become happy, and you really allow yourself to have true emotions. And one of the things that I teach is that in order to feel happiness, you have to be willing to feel sadness. You have to have the opposite. Just like in order to know it's dark out, we need to know when it's light out. Okay. The other thing that happens is you're no longer having to hide from yourself. So how often, you go in your house and it's a mess. You're like, I don't want to see it. And you just turn the lights off and then you walk around a messy house. What happens? You start stubbing your toe and falling and all of that. That's just essentially what you've been doing in your life. If you, like with imposter syndrome, you're never really being you. You're never giving yourself the opportunity to truly be you. Now, I want to let you know something. Before you learned to tie shoes, you were never a person that had the knowledge and ability to tie shoes. You wore slides, you wore Velcro, or you had someone tie your shoes for you. Okay? Before you knew how to do half square triangles, you didn't know how to do half square triangles. And then you saw this pattern, you're like, oh, I really like that. I'm like, well, I guess I can learn. I want you to know all the things I'm teaching you here, like all of these things that I was talking about, these literally are just skills. Like learning to care more about what you think than other people think, that's a skill. Learning to create clear expectations, that's a skill. Learning to collect data and work through that data, that's a skill. Learning to unconditionally love yourself, that's a skill. So just like tying shoes, cooking eggs, or making half square triangles, those are skills. I'm teaching you skills. And when you can build those skills, then your results are you become authentically you. It's so much fun to watch my clients become who they really are. It's so much fun. Okay. All right. So that is the training for today. And I want to thank you for coming. I want to thank you for spending this time. So I am now going to explain to you how you can take the things that I just talked about today and you can take it further for yourself. So there are two different ways of working with me. One is in my Love Yourself Thin program, which is starting on July 26th. And that program is giving you the foundation of weight loss science is simple, emotions are the key to the universe, and then you can learn to start creating a future you whom you love being. You just love being her. And so I walk you through that process, 12 weeks, and so if you're interested in that, I have already pre-sold some spots, but that is an incredible program, and come and talk to me about that. I would love to sign you up for that. Now, this offer right now that's starting at the end of this month is actually for people who have worked with me before. So I have now created a brand new program. It is a mastermind. So even if you haven't done this yet, you can stay on and you can hear a little bit more about me describing what this is. So it's something you can look forward to because it is truly an incredible experience. I really do feel like I just birthed. I'm like in the process of birthing this. It has been something I've been thinking about and preparing and planning for a long time. And so right now I'm calling it Loving Yourself Thin Mastermind. So it is implying like we're taking what we have, this foundation that is so beautiful. And I'm actually amazed at the women that are, the more I do this, the faster the results people are getting. And even women that haven't taken my program, but are just doing my perfection recovery, like yesterday I met with a lady, and just with her watching I also have a whole segment of free trainings that not free trainings, but included in the value package. And she has been watching those, and she has lost 14 pounds. It's amazing. And she hasn't even gone through my program yet, but just watching my content and just immersing herself and just embracing this. I met with her yesterday, and she's so grateful. She's like, Dara, I love that you taught me that she can believe that she can change. And I believe that for all of you who are here and all of you who are watching. I know that there is nobody I can't help. I just know that. And there is nobody past that you can't be past due. Like you can't be like so far gone that you can't be helped. I also know that for sure. These tools work. So with this program, the Love Yourself Thinner program, so I actually have two offerings. The first offering is, so what my program is 7 months. So we start at the end of June. It's actually 2 weeks. Yesterday it starts. And then we are going to have the 5 sessions before the summer, before August. And then the month of August, you're going to have some pre-recorded classes from me, and you have a book list. And this book list is going to help you open your mind, not only to the brain science, but to understanding about how the body heals with our thoughts. Okay. And there's a variety of books that are on that. Now, how it's going to look, so I just wanted to show you, is, yes, we start June 28th. You are basically going to be able to create any result you want. That is the work we're going to do. And I am going to take the tools that I teach in my foundational program of Love Yourself Thin, and we are going to expand on our ability to use those tools. And how that will work for the logistics, is Monday we have courses that I teach. I love to create content. We are going to be finishing up Perfection Recovery. And then the month of August, I have a specialist coming in, and she's talking about how our body is not our enemy. And so she's incredible. And so that is with the whole group. And then Wednesdays, I'm going to be teaching you the tools, the brain science, that we're doing that workshop style. And then Friday, you'll be having the coaching. So I just want to turn this back over here. So what I recommend you do is in this program, so if you want to sign up for my Love Yourself Thin program for the end of July, I would recommend you go to darathomason.com right now and do Work with Dara under that tab. And then right there, and then you can just pay the PayPal. If you want to have a consultation, if you want to talk to me, I actually have from now until 1 o'clock available. So we could just hop on a call immediately after this, and you can claim your spot. If you are interested in the mastermind, and you have to have had worked with me either one-on-one or been in my Love Yourself Thin program, you need to sign up. There are limited spaces, and it's quite a demand. So it's a $6,000 price for the 7 months, or you can supersize, I call it. It can up level, and you can have monthly calls with me to follow up on your goals. We are going to take goal setting and accomplishments to a new level. And I am creating some pretty fun quilting challenges in this for you, because I'm really proud of the fact that I am a weight loss coach for quilters. And some people think it's like very niche, and I'm super proud of it. I love my quilter ladies. I love the quilting culture. I love that we use quilting as a way, our hands, to process and to be with ourselves. And I am going to be taking that kind of to the next level through the work that I do with my brain and our body connection. So I'm really excited about that way of not only healing our bodies, but processing emotions and just being more in tune and more joyful in our bodies, and using something that we love to do in a way that's going to be healing in our mind and nurturing in our mind as well, in our bodies, of course. So does anyone have any questions about the mastermind that you would like to ask me? I love that you're here. I love that you're investing this time in yourself. So if you have any questions, you can either raise your hand. There's a little button on the bottom. You can raise your hand. I can bring you up on the screen. You can ask me any question, or simply you can just type it in the chat, which is also along the bottom, and you can ask any question there. All right. One of the questions that I have been receiving is how many people are in the mastermind? So I am capping it at 15 because I want to be able to really walk those 15 people all the way through to the finishing line of the goals that they set. And I want to be able to give them that attention. So that definitely is a consideration. Another question that I have about the Love Yourself Thin is, so the actual times. So the times are 9 a.m. Pacific, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Another question is, we are going to be in a private Facebook group. So you will actually have a supportive group. I kind of call these women my dream team because they've worked with me in the past, and I really love that idea. I love my clients, like love them, and I'm so happy for them. And so I'm creating this dream team of women that, and especially as we do this work, and this is the thing that's really blowing my own mind, is the more often I teach Love Yourself Thin, and the more I get this word out of this process of like truly learning to unconditionally love yourself and taking care of yourself, and doing that approach to weight loss, it's expanding, and it's like we're getting more and more results sooner. Like it's kind of blowing my mind. And so I know that as I do take the foundation of the tools and then be able to expand it, how much more access these women are going to have to blowing their own minds. So often, and I remember hearing this as a kid, thinking, we really haven't tapped into the total potential of the human brain. And it's true. And the more work I do in researching about our brains, like I am a certified life coach, it is what I do. But as I continue to expand my own mind and learn more about the brain and the capacity that the brain has, and the more success I've had in my own career with like money goals that I have had, with business expansion goals, all of that, I literally am blowing my own mind all the time. My clients are blowing my mind all the time. And those clients who really like focus in on the tools, I always say to my clients, I have the exact same tools as you do. I have the same tools. I don't have like a special toolbox just for coaches. I mean, obviously I'm certified and I know them. I know the tools in and out, but I share everything. But I'm so dedicated and committed to the tools, and I'm so willing to feel all the feelings that I just have the success because I'm so committed to that. So I want to know, has anyone gone over to my website and paid already? Because if you have, like, go darathomason.com, work with me. Like, I want to shout you out on this. We only have a few more minutes left. But like really, truly, those of you who like, as I'm talking and as I'm explaining this, if this is resonating with you, if this is like becoming like exciting and wonderful, I invite you to take action from that. And that's showing me that you are that's something you're ready for, and that you're going to just embrace that and go with it. So those ladies who have signed up for my program, I have 4 ladies that signed up 2 months before it even started happening. And I offered them a special bonus of coming to my Monday calls and getting access to my treasure trove of content. They're blowing their own minds right now. Like, it's really fun to watch them. And if you do sign right today, I will extend that same invitation. It will end tonight at midnight, but you will get the program. So there are 5 or 6 month-long courses in my treasure trove, I call it. So there's the hormones, menopause and perimenopause. There's time management. There's how to lose 2 pounds a week course. There's buffering. And that also has to do with eating and drinking. Can't remember them all, but you will have access to that if you sign today, but that will end at midnight. And then you will also get access to my Monday class. So instead of my Love Yourself Thin being a 3-month program, it will be 4.5 months in regards to every Monday morning. Get to hang out with us and learn and grow. And you will get a digital copy sent of the 12-step perfection recovery program immediately. And then I will actually put a copy in the mail for you today if you sign by midnight. So I'm just feeling super generous here because I love that you're here on this call. Like, I really do. And I'm going to reward you for doing that. Like, I know that you are my people because you are here. And I want people like you being in my program. So I will offer that extended bonus, and that would be so fun. I even have the envelopes right here. So I just put your name on it. I throw it in an envelope, and it could be coming to your house. But you will get a digital copy. You will get into my into the treasure trove. I can join you into that, and you can watch hours and hours and hours. In fact, I've done this program once already, so you could even watch the pre-existing calls, and then we are on week 4 next week, so you would be able to participate. All right, any other questions? So for Love Yourself Thin, July 26th, there's no better time to join. Listen to your body right now. What is your mind telling you to do? DaraThomason.com. Work with Dara, first tab, Love Yourself Thin, $3,000 done. You get the bonus. You get to join me every Monday with all my clients, and then you get to have access to all of my courses. There's I love handouts, so there's lots of handouts. There's all pre-recorded videos. Let's do it. So I'm not going to shout out names on here, but I see you. And I want people like you in my program. I also want, there are several of you who qualify for this. And it is going to fill up fairly quickly. I am limiting it to 15 people. So if you want this, do not hesitate. Do not hesitate. I do have until 1 o'clock today. This is Pacific time that I could hop on a call with you. I also have a little bit of time tomorrow that I could talk to you. So this is going to start on June 28th. And so 2 weeks yesterday, starting. So let's do this. Let's talk about this. Okay. Any other questions? I love that you're still here, everyone. By the way, do you like my new dress? I just got it the other day. I thought I'm excited about this webinar. I want to wear a dress and I want to have that. So, all right, ladies, I cannot wait to welcome you. Also, I'm going to ask you to do 2 things before you go. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to go over to my YouTube channel and I want you to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Okay. So go to my YouTube channel and subscribe, because I have all my free trainings there and they are super fun. And then the next thing I want you to do is I want you to think about who in your, for people who, like, who would you know would love to hear about this? That, like, if this is resonating with you, so who of all your friends really would resonate for this information? Because I want to spread, when I see my clients and the life that they've created and how much peace and how much more joy they have, it's like we really do want to shout it from the rooftops. And so if this has been really resonating with you, I invite you to reach out to friends and say, hey, listen, there is this girl, Dara Thomason. I was the free motion quilting liberator. That's what I was. I taught free motion quilting. And I have an amazing book. You should go and get it. You can order it from me. I have them in my closet. I could mail them to you too. I could mail both of them to you. I could mail you the Perfection Recovery, and I could mail you my free motion quilting book. But tell them about me. So do it. It'd be so fun, because the more of us, the more that we know this, the more collective knowledge and power, we'll just grow the power of transformation even more. All right. Any other questions? You ladies are awesome. All right. You take care. Bye.